Hey, it's Josh, developer of One More Run. So yeah, I'm really excited to share that the game's getting subclasses. While working on Cleric version 4, it just kind of clicked partway through the process with how the game's larger meta progression is shaping up. Subclasses just really felt like the natural next step. So before I go any further, quick note for the people who just want to know this. As of 0.1.27 in the demo, you can unlock Paladin by defeating Prometheus with the Cleric. You'll need to do it one more time if you've already beaten Prometheus previously, just because I didn't have the save state for that yet in place. Future subclasses will unlock the same way until early access, at which point they'll instead be tied to quest lines, which I'll be getting into a bit next. So originally, I planned 5 classes for early access, then 2 more by 1.0. To sum it all up, now with subclasses and a novice tutorial class, which will be coming in the future, we're instead looking at 21 classes by full release. So yeah, it's a bit of scope creep, but the good kind, and I'm always happy to lean into that kind of scope creep. Alright, so in the demo right now, subclasses are available so that we get plenty of testing in before early access. When EA arrives though, only the 5 base classes will remain unlocked in the demo. The rest will be earned in the full game through exploration and quest lines. I want to make sure to be direct about that now so that no one feels bamboozled come EA release when those subclasses aren't available anymore. So there's 2 reasons for that. In part, to keep the early access fresh. There's already plenty of people who have put in 10 plus hours in the demo, which is freaking amazing. I never would have guessed it when I launched this demo. But that also means, I got to look at, okay, how much demo is too much demo? And that's when I realized, okay, subclasses probably belong in the EA and full game. On top of that, though, I want the freedom for these subclasses to be unlocked through quest lines that span multiple regions. And we just can't do that in the demo when it's limited to Hinterville clearing exclusively. Alright, so talking about meta progression. A big reason subclasses make sense now is how they tie into the goals with meta progression. And so getting those subclasses built earlier rather than later helps me inform future development decisions in that area. That said, here's a very quick preview of how these 2 things will tie together. Keep in mind this is still very early. It won't appear in the demo until we're closer to EA and will have changed significantly from this first iteration. So here's a sample Paladin skill loadout. This build focuses heavily on auras, with extra points and shield skills for survivability and to power up Holy Smite via that capstone there at the top of the tree. In conjunction with this, we still keep our base class tree, so as a Paladin, I can further invest in the Cleric tree for general baseline bonuses. Subclass trees will always add depth without replacing the base class progression that's already been earned. I'm imagining there's going to need to be a whole separate FAQ video on subclasses, as I'm already thinking of things people are probably going to want to know. So let me know what things you'd like to know further about subclasses in the comments or the Discord, and I'll be sure to add those into a follow-up FAQ video. Pertaining to skill trees specifically, there will be a proper deep dive into how these function once we get closer to early access. But one major difference in One More Run's meta progression as a whole that I want to mention is that skill points won't be tied to grinding experience. In fact, I'm leaning toward no meta experience system at all, just to get that out of the way. I know that's a huge departure from both survivors-like games and ARPGs, but I think it's an important one to help One More Run to be what I envision it to be. Instead, skill points will come from overcoming challenges, like defeating a boss for the first time, or defeating the Uber version of that boss, which is heavily scaled up for endgame, completing major quest lines or story milestones, and possibly uncovering secrets and Easter eggs that only the very determined explorers will find. These are the kinds of things that I feel provide a much more rewarding gameplay experience, as opposed to simply just time spent grinding. And when you go back to Hinterville clearing after 50 hours of gameplay and can steamroll Prometheus for fun, you'll know you've earned it instead of it just being a consequence of those 50 hours. Lastly, a brief mention about those specializations you saw in the trailer. At level 20, subclasses choose a specialization. This is a powerful, unique upgrade to fit each subclass's core mechanics. For the Paladin, there are 3 right now, 1 for Holy Light, 1 for Holy Fire, and 1 for Holy Smite. Over time, more will be added through the skill tree or subclass-specific quests. I'm considering these as stretch goals, though, from a dev times perspective. So the focus will be getting a baseline of 3 specializations per subclass in place first. Alright, that's the plan for subclasses, skill trees, and meta progression in one more run. I'm really looking forward to seeing the builds you guys can create out of these systems once they roll out over the next 7 months leading into early access. In the meantime, though, hopefully you have fun getting in and trying Paladin for what it is now. The core systems are in place, so subclasses will be rolling out at a steady cadence from here on out. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out the demo. The link is in the description of this video.